We are delighted to be joined now by Bernadette Thompson from the Ministry of Housing, Communities and Local Government. Bernadette will be speaking to us today about maintaining and promoting your staff networks. So Bernadette, would you mind beginning by just giving us a brief overview of your own work with staff networks?
When I usually introduce myself, I say I work in the Ministry of Housing, Communities and Local Government by day, and literally by night I co-chair a cross-government race network, so Race to the Top grade 6-7 network, which is a cross-government race network for colleagues from a BAME background just below our senior civil service grade.
Fantastic. And in terms of maintaining a network over time, then, what would you say is the biggest challenge and how do you feel this can be overcome?
Good question. So I think one of the biggest challenges that, I would say particularly employee network groups face is around time. And that's one of the most important factors. And certainly for myself, or my co-chair, we have found that this has been the issue. So in a lot of organizations, network groups are kind of formed and they are voluntary service within their organization, and this remains the issue. So your day job, of course, would take preeminence in anything. Your day job would come first. So a lot of the time, employee network groups are always looking for resource, trying to find the time to roll out some of the initiative and activity they would really want to do. So you find a lot of employee network group chairs who are absolutely worn out because they do this on top of their day job. And so there hasn't been really much, I would say, encouragement, support, be it financially or time-wise from their organization. So I just give my department a bit of a plug. So at Ministry of Housing, Communities and Local Government, we recently launched our employee group network deal, so our employee networks business deal, with the help of Sharon, I would say. So thank you, Sharon, for helping us with that. And what this document actually outlined is, well, as an employee network group, as an organization, we will support you in this way. We will allocate a small budget to help you run some of your events, which are really beneficial to us as an organization. We will also give you time as an employee network group chair to run your activities. So a proportion of your time, we will allocate that to help you run your employee network. If you have a co-chair model, we will do that as well. And if you have the model where you have an executive team, we will also allow that kind of time for volunteers as well. And by doing so, we the networks are able to attract more people to support them. They're able to devote more time to roll out some of the really, really helpful initiatives across their organizations. So going back to your initial question, time has been the most difficult factor for me, and speaking to employee network groups across different sectors, that has been the case. But a really good and caring and supportive organization will ensure that they draft out, put a deal together for your employee network groups. They are valuable, employee network groups are valuable, and I think you would have heard that throughout this program of events today, but it's really important that organizations are supportive and there is a kind of a deal. What are you going to give us as an employee network group? But from the organizational point of view, what are we going to help to support them?
Fantastic, thanks Bernadette. So onto the promoting part of staff networks. What has been the most effective method of garnering external interest in your network?
So I'll answer this with a few layers. I think the most important thing for employee network groups is for organizations, for members of your staff, for members, colleagues within your organizations to actually know what you're doing. There is no point in being an employee network group if the organization doesn't know, if people who are employed within that organization don't even know you exist. It's really important to get your, I would say, your branding, your marketing on point. And I'm not talking about something that's really expensive. The basic things like having an email address, basic thing of having possibly a newsletter, having a social media platform. So our network, Race to the Top 6 and 7, we have a Twitter feed, and where we kind of promote some of the what we've done as a network, but some of the events or initiatives that we're about to roll out. I always encourage employee network chairs to raise the profile of their network on LinkedIn if they're able to subscribe to LinkedIn. I know that there's some roles where people would not want to be in the public domain because of the work that they do, but the network can be in the public domain. So it's really important to raise the profile of your network. That's one thing that certainly has worked for us. To blog about your network. Well, what have you done? What are the good things that you've done? And I think more importantly, there's so many diversity awards out there. There's so many diversity awards. Within the civil service, we have a fantastic civil service diversity and inclusion awards, and I think Dods do help us to put that on an annual basis. So it's really dropping in, submitting a nomination for your network group to kind of showcase what you've done. I always say that it's really important to blow your own trumpet and to cheerlead yourself as an employee network group. Therefore, the branding, making that, you know, getting a logo that people can actually understand what you're about, having linking up with social media, be it LinkedIn or Twitter, but really promoting yourself out there and the benefits and getting feedback from your members. Well, how have you helped them? Tweeting some of that out and sharing the benefits across your organization, because it's really important. Employee network groups are brilliant and they add so much value to organizations, but I think really making sure that organizations actually know what the employee network group is doing and how it's benefiting employees within that organization. And lastly, just remembering, having a business plan as an employee network group. What are you going to do? What activities are you going to roll out in that year? Now, it doesn't have to be as detailed as we would have for a workplace business plan, but something outlining what you stand for, what you want to do, what your priorities are, and periodically reviewing how you've delivered in that space, getting that feedback.
Fantastic. Thanks, Bernadette. Some really helpful, really practical points there, which I'm sure delegates will find really helpful. So thank you very much for your insights today. Really very much appreciated.
Thank you.